You know, in the world of longevity supplements, there's always this one big question. Is more actually better? Well, today we're diving deep into Perpetua Life's Urolithin A. They pack a massive 1,000 milligram dose into their supplement, and we're going to find out if it's really the game changer it claims to be. I mean, think about that for a second. What if you could literally rewire your body's power grid at the cellular level? It's a pretty incredible idea, right? The promise of rejuvenating yourself from the inside out, cranking up your energy, and just making your cells work better as you get older. This is the big idea behind the compound we're talking about. And yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Most of the supplements out there, they stick to a pretty well-studied 500 mg dose. But one company is literally doubling down on that. So today, we're going to break down the science, we'll look at the competition, and check out the real-world results to see what's what. Okay, so first things first, let's meet the star of the show, Urolithin A. To really get why there's so much hype, we have to go microscopic, like right down inside our own cells. So try to picture your cells as these tiny little factories, and inside you've got mitochondria, those are the power plants. Now over time, just like any power plant, they get old, they get rusty, inefficient. Mitophagy is your cell's own internal recycling program. It's awesome. It goes in, clears out all the junk, all the damaged power plants, to make room for new high-performance ones to be built. So what exactly is urolithin A? Well, it's this amazing compound that our own gut bacteria create from things we eat, like pomegranates and walnuts. And its main job? To kickstart that whole mitophagy cleanup process. But, and this is the key, a lot of us just can't produce enough of it on our own, which is exactly why it's become such a popular supplement. And listen, this isn't just some fad. Top-tier longevity researchers like Dr. David Sinclair are saying that this is one of the most exciting frontiers in anti-aging science. So yeah, focusing on the health of our cellular power plants, it's a huge deal. So all of this brings us right to Perpetua Life. This is a company that is making a really bold bet that when it comes to urolithin A, more is absolutely more. And they are not kidding around. Their daily dose is a whopping 1,000 milligrams. Honestly, in a pretty crowded market, this number right here is their single biggest claim to fame. And here's that difference in black and white. You see, the standard dose, the one used in most of the big clinical trials, is 500 milligrams. Perpetual Life just straight up doubles it. So is there any actual science to back up this high-dose idea? Well, actually, yes, there is. There was a major study back in 2022 published in JAMA Network Open, and it found that while 500 mg worked great, the group taking 1,000 mg saw even better, more pronounced improvements in muscle endurance. So this is crucial. It's not just some random number they picked. It's a dose that has real clinical evidence behind it. But you know, the high dose isn't their only selling point. They also use something called liposomal delivery. The basic idea is to wrap the urolithin A in this protective layer of fat, like a tiny bubble, to help it survive your stomach acid and actually get absorbed more effectively by your body. Now, full transparency here, this is a really important point. While this delivery tech has been proven for other nutrients, we don't yet have specific clinical studies showing it works better for urolithin A compared to the standard forms. So it's a very promising idea in theory, but the jury is still out on the hard data for this specific compound. Okay, so how does Perpetua Life actually stack up against the other big names in the urolithin A game? Let's do a little head-to-head comparison and see. You know, this comparison is actually fascinating. You've got Timeline's MitoPure, which is kind of the 500 milligram gold standard for most of the clinical trials, but it costs over $4 a serving. And then you have Perpetua Life, delivering double the dose for less than half the price. It's a really clear strategy, right? They're going after people who want the absolute maximum dose for the best possible value. All right, clinical data is one thing, but what are actual users saying? This is where the rubber meets the road. Do the scientific promises translate into real-world benefits for people? And you know what? The feedback is really strong. Across more than 80 reviews on Trustpilot, Perpetual Life is holding steady at a 4.5-star rating. That's a very positive signal. Okay, so let's try to connect the dots here. The science tells us we should expect things like better muscle endurance because our mitochondria are getting healthier. So are people actually feeling that? Yep, it looks like they are. This user's experience, feeling that increased energy, that overall sense of well-being, it perfectly mirrors what the clinical trials would lead us to expect. It's a straight line from the lab to someone's daily life. But here is where it gets really interesting. There's this unexpected pattern showing up in the reviews. While it hasn't really been a focus of the clinical studies, tons of users are reporting noticeable improvements in their skin. I mean, that is a powerful testimonial. And it kind of makes sense when you think about it, right? Healthy cellular renewal is absolutely key for great skin. It's this fascinating, unstudied benefit that people are clearly picking up on. So, after digging through the science, sizing up the competition, and reading what real users have to say, what's the final verdict? Is Perpetua Life's high-dose Urolithin A really worth it? Let's just break it all down. The pros are pretty compelling. You're getting the highest dose on the market that has clinical backing. The user feedback is great and it has a solid safety profile. The ingredient is generally recognized as safe by the FDA. The cons are more about practicality. Look, the price is an investment, taking 4 capsules a day is a commitment, and they don't have clinical trials on their own specific finished product. So really, it all boils down to this one question. Is getting the maximum possible dose your top priority? If you're an athlete, maybe you're over 60, or you're just someone who wants to hit this cellular pathway with the strongest clinically supported dose you can find, well, then all the evidence we've looked at suggests Perpetual Life is a very, very compelling choice. But as always, the decision is up to you.